What is going on, New York Giants fans? D. Illa here. I'm sitting here in the car. My wife's got the cat at the vet, and they only allow one person in there at a time. You know, obviously the owner and then the cat itself. So I couldn't go in, so I got to sit out here in the car. I wanted to make a video real quick. I wanted to talk about Daniel Jones in this video. I really haven't had a chance to talk about Daniel Jones and my expectations for him this season. I've seen a lot of content creators come out here and talk about their expectations for Daniel Jones, for him to possibly remain on this team next season. I've heard some people come out here and talk about how he needs to throw for 35 to 40 touchdowns and throw for over 4,500 yards. And those numbers to me are just completely brainless. I don't know why you would ever think Daniel Jones is going to throw for that kind of yardage and that amount of touchdowns. I mean, you talk about numbers like that. Eli Manning only accomplished that feat of 35 touchdowns one time in his career. So if you have a bar set for Daniel Jones to throw 35 touchdowns, man, you're setting the bar high for that man. And I don't think that's something he's going to be able to accomplish, because he's just he's not that type of quarterback. You know, he's not a Tom Brady, he's not a Patrick Mahomes, he's not a Josh Allen by any means. But is he good enough for us to win with? I think so. If we give him adequate protection, I think Daniel Jones can get the job done. And I've been saying that for 3 years, you know, since he's been on this team. I think he has been in a bad situation with this offensive line, much like every other content creator on YouTube seems to believe. There are others out there that just think Daniel Jones is a complete waste of time, and he's basically, you know, the Giants should move in a different direction. And at one point, you know, you can sit there and say I was probably one of those people, but I just thought it was a good idea for this team to have another young quarterback on this roster, just as an additional option, just in case Daniel Jones didn't work out. That was my whole reasoning behind it. And the fact that you could possibly spend a second or third round pick on a guy that could be your potential franchise quarterback, and a guy like Malik Willis, I didn't think it was necessarily a bad idea, just as a backup option, you know. So I never thought that was necessarily a bad idea for this team to go in that direction, just so they had an additional option, like I said. But a big thing for Daniel Jones this season, considering over the past 3 years that I really believe the man's confidence has been rattled. This offensive line has to come together very, very quickly. And that's going to be a lot to ask for a lot of guys that really haven't played with each other for a long period of time. You know, you got Evan Neal starting at right tackle for this team. You got the guy Glowinski that we got from the Colts. You know, obviously he's a new addition to this offensive line. And you got Andrew Thomas. He's still nursing that ankle injury that he's been dealing with for a good period of time at this point. So hopefully he can come back when the season starts, and at least when the preseason begins, he can come out there and be at full strength. But we need all these pieces on this offensive line to come out in the preseason, and they got to gel quickly, man. They really have to gel quickly, because I honestly believe their success as an offensive line, it's going to determine how Daniel Jones plays this season, obviously. Because the quicker they gel together, the better the protection is going to be for Daniel Jones, and the more comfortable he's going to be in that pocket. If he's not comfortable in that pocket, I think you're going to see more of the same from what you've seen out of him the past 2 to 3 seasons. I don't think that's going to change. But if he gets into the preseason and he realizes, once he takes that 3 to 4 step drop back, and he realizes he's got a little bit of time, you know, the guys in front of him aren't going to get him killed, I think you could possibly see Daniel Jones really come out and excel. But like I said, this is going to have to happen very, very quickly. And this is not something that happens very often in the NFL, especially when it comes to offensive lines. You need guys that have played together for a long period of time for them to come out there and really get the job done for your quarterback and give him the adequate protection that he needs to go out there and make the throws. But if they come together quick, Daniel Jones can get his feet underneath him, you know, realize that he's not going to get his freaking head taken off every single play, and he can sit back there and try to read a defense to the best of his ability and go out there and make the throws to help this team be a successful football team as far as the offensive side of the ball goes. But like I said, if that doesn't take place, and it doesn't take place fairly quickly, I think we're all going to see more of the same out of Daniel Jones. But yeah, a season for me out of Daniel Jones this season, man, is something that Eli Manning used to do. You know, a typical season out of Eli Manning for the New York Giants was around in between 4,000 to 4,500 yards, and he was always in between that 24 to 27 yard, 24 to 27 touchdown mark, as far as passing touchdowns go. And I'm sorry, you guys, I've got people like walking all around the car right now. They're kind of getting my attention. my attention kind of it goes. I got a very short attention span sometimes, so if something catches my eye, man, I can just drift off extremely easily. I'm sure you probably have noticed that in my videos. But yeah, good season out of him, man. I think he definitely has to get to that 4,000 yard mark. I think that's a given. That's a given. But if he throws for, in between 24 to 27 touchdowns, he adds maybe what, three to four rushing touchdowns in there, and say he puts up a grand total of 28 to 29 touchdowns, I think that's good enough out of Daniel Jones for us to possibly give him an additional season, especially if Brian Daboll likes what he sees and he likes the progress out of Daniel Jones. I think that's a good enough season out of him for Brian Daboll to want to see what he can do in his system for a second year. So I'm not asking for astronomical numbers out of the guy. I think what I'm asking him to do, he's already done in this league. He did it his rookie season. Back when Pat Shurmur just had him out there playing ball and going out there and playing his game. Just going out there and making the throws, not thinking so much. Because if you watched him at Duke, man, I feel like he excelled off the play action pass, which is what you saw him do in that New Orleans Saints game the past year. He excelled off the play action pass, and you got to let him throw the ball down the field. You just got to let him play and quit making him think so damn much. I think that is one of the biggest issues with Daniel Jones. He just overthinks a lot of the situations that he's in when he's out there on the football field. And that's a problem with a lot of players, man. They think too much, and you can't just concentrate on what you're actually trying to do out there on the football field when you're thinking all the time. You're not acting off a natural instinct, and that's when you get yourself into problems. So I think this offense, a lot of people seem to think this offense is going to be a West Coast offense, get the ball out of your hand quick. I don't think that's going to be the case, man, because that's what they've been doing the past 2 years. That's what Judge had him doing. That's what Garrett had him doing, short passes and getting the ball out of his hand. I don't think they're going to do that. If this line gives him adequate protection, I think they're going to ask Daniel Jones to throw the ball down the field, do it early and do it often, because that's what Josh Allen did for the Buffalo Bills. He was a quarterback that had a strong enough arm to pick up big chunks of yards, 15 to 20 yard plays, and I think that's what Brian Daboll wants out of his quarterback. And I think Brian Daboll is going to try to push Daniel Jones to try to get him to be a similar quarterback like a Josh Allen. Obviously, I mean that's what he's looking for, a guy that he's had in the past. Now, obviously, nobody is like a Josh Allen, and you can't duplicate a guy like that. But I think he's going to try to get the most out of Daniel Jones that he possibly can. I think he's going to really put him to the test this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly the way it goes with him. And concerns with how Brian Daboll actually attacks Daniel Jones and how he wants him to play out there on the football field. But yeah, I mean, that's all I really want to come out here and say in the video. I just wanted to talk about Daniel Jones for a minute and get your guys' thoughts and what you expect out of him this year. I just want to see progress out of him, man. I just want to see him get comfortable in that pocket and just make the throws that I believe he can make, because I think he's a fairly accurate passer. He's got a good arm. He's a big kid. He's 6'5". He's over 225 pounds. He's got all the attributes that you would want in an NFL quarterback. It's just, you just got to go out there and do it this year, man. That's all he's got to do. But that's it for the video, you guys. You take it easy. I'm sure my wife's appointment with our cat is probably getting ready to be over, so I'm sure she'll be coming out here pretty soon. But I just wanted to touch base with you guys, see what you guys think. Put some comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take it easy. Have a good day, and take care. Bye.